Have all the pages? Page 14, 15. Second.
Wait, Rabbi, why are you using? Gave you a beautiful one that's exactly the way you wanted it.
All right, two more chairs.
I'll get it here.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry.
Okay, here.
We're gonna try this out. I don't know if it's gonna work, but it doesn't look like it's gonna work. So we'll survive this week. We'll figure out maybe next week we'll go outside. It'll be nice and cool, and we'll be able to do it outside. What you do? But it's a good problem. Baruch Hashem, the Talmud Torah is growing and growing. Over 150 kids here on a Sunday, so it is what it is. We have to figure out something. I want to cancel the class because the Gewaldic class we've been learning Chassidus together for many years, and but now they moved us into a closet. I feel like I'm in a closet, so I don't think it's
You're fine.
right. So you hear me back there at the other end of the closet?
Actually, they're very good for sound. The sound just goes right back.
Okay.
It sounded fine.
So when we built this building, we should have made this room a little bigger. I wasn't thinking that we would turn it into a classroom. Okay. This we're holding in chapter 4 of Tanya.
If anybody wants a better chart, I have more.
Should try to raise so but we are going to go to another whole different concept after that, but introduce us here, and that is the aspect of levushim, the concept of garments. We find that a garment in Torah is an important thing because a garment, as in the Torah, is the kavod or the tzifares, that a garment was made. The Eibishter created a garment that it would give the glory, honor and glory of a person. So the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, wore garments in the Beis Hamikdash, and actually, yes, in the Torah, the first garment that was created by God. He created the garments for Adam and Chava. He created their garments that would cover them and would not cover them to hide anything from them, but actually cover them to give them glory, to bring them glory in life. Because as Chassidus explains us, the first day when the Eibishter created, the first day of creation is actually, I mentioned yesterday, the first day of creation is one of the wondrous days of creation. And we know even Rashi, that translates the verses according to a 5-year-old child, also explains that the first day of creation was the concept of not the aspect of light from the sun, but Eliki, the concept of a light, the aspect of and if you learn Rashi, when the Eibishter created Ganuz latzadikim, the Eibishter hid the for the righteous. So what is the meaning when Rashi says that God hid the he hid this for the righteous people? So there's many interpretations to that itself. But one of the interpretations that the Eibishter hid the that then from the time where Adam, because God knew Adam and Eve are going to ultimately sin, because that you see in the verse itself. The verse itself, as I said, in the first day of creation, when there was no sun, there was already and Choshech, right? There was already the concept of and Choshech, right? There was already light and dark, right? You say it in the Torah, Vayihi Erev, Vayihi Vayike Yom Echad. There was already the concept of darkness in the first day. What is the darkness in the first day? What is the first day darkness in the first day? What's darkness in the first day? It's not darkness of the night, the basic night. Choshech is klippos, is the aspect of sin, of negativity. Is the first day already? There's a concept of choshech before even the sin. Adam and Eve haven't even sinned. The truth is that there's a tree of knowledge. Before they eat from the tree, there's already a tree of good and bad. So that means bad is a creation of God before even man did any bad. Right? You with me, people? So there's chayshach and there's oir. Right away in the beginning, there's chayshach and there's chayshach and yoim. There's darkness and light. But it's yoim echad. The beauty is that it's all one. In the beginning of creation, there's darkness and light, but they're both light. They're really one. And if you learn Chassidus, you learn Kavbbalah, you'll know that darkness is maybe greater than light. True darkness is light. And where there is, because chayshach has no entity beside the regular chayshach, regular darkness has no entity on its own. So the spiritual chayshach, the spiritual concept of darkness is really light. It's such a light that cannot be in the gather, it cannot be even expressed as light. What?
What could you?
Right, so it's a darkness. It's a darkness that has, it's an Inyan Ruchni, it's not an energy, it's an Inyan Ruchni, it's a spiritual concept. Energy is already a physical concept. This is a spiritual concept that is above the concept of energies. And it's a concept that is God's energy, which is not the way we understand energy. We comprehend energy because that's an energy, what we understand is a physical energy, even in the molecules and the way science understands energy, it's still a physical creation. We are talking about a godly light that is above the concept of Gashmis, that's higher than the concept of anything physical. It's a godly energy. It's energy, but it's a godly energy. It's not a physical energy. So you have the way it can come into a vessel, because the second you say light, then it is a mugdar. It's automatically something that has some kind of gedarim. It has some kind of ramifications. It has some kind of space. It takes some kind of space. It has some kind of boundaries. It has some kind of reality. It's a when you say chayshach, it means that there's no boundaries, because I cannot even express it. The only way I can express it is dark. It's not there. What they want to call the black hole. So it's called a black hole. It's something that I can't even express it in a concept of light. I can only say that it's dark. Headed. There's nothing. It's nothing. How do you express godliness? Yesh me'ayin. Something from nothing. Now you're calling God nothing. Yesh me'ayin. When you say that the world is a yesh, something from nothing, meaning the chashom is not nothing. It's nothing that because we cannot express it in any kind of a term, and we cannot even express it into a word. Therefore, it's nothing. So that's why I said yesterday, what comes before Yom Choshech comes by Erev, by Yivoker, that the evening, the darkness comes before the day. Simple answer why darkness comes before the day. We don't go day to night, we go night to day. So, right, that's the way we go. That's the way God created the world. Created the world night to day. He didn't create the world day to night, he created the world night to day. And the simple reason is because we shall realize that the light at the end of the tunnel, that darkness always turns into light. The truth is, that's the way it's in Kavbbalah too. That this choshech, this darkness, this ayin, this nothingness, ultimately, their whole purpose is to come into a yesh, is to come into a day, is to come into a purpose. So how does one take this Ganos la tzaddikim. What is the meaning of Rashi? That means a light that is hidden for the right. Where is it hidden? Where is this light hidden? It's hidden in the Torah. Ganos tzaddikim is hidden in Torah. That's why the Torah is called a light. Torah is a light. You want to connect to this light, you can learn Torah. And you're going to have the light that was created on the first day of creation, this light that the Eibishter brought down to the world. That's not the light of day. It's not the light of energy. This is the light of God. You want to connect to the light of God? Then go learn Torah. Then learn Torah. You'll connect to the light of God. You'll connect to this earth. Connect to this light. And that's the earth, the first day of creation. An earth that is above and beyond reality. An earth that's higher than the world. An earth that it has oneness in it. But it's still an earth that you're learning in a book. That automatically is a lavush. That's the real question that's asked. How does God, who is infinite, come into a book? Right, the Baditchev said that the Alter Rebbe took Ein Sof and he put it in a book. Take Ein Sof. How do you take infinity and put it in a book? How do you take the Eibishter? How does the Eibishter, God, come and put himself in a book? That's the beautiful video of the Rebbe last night. I don't know if you. It's not a very big book. We know how many letters there are in this book. It's not an infinite book. It's 300,000 letters. It's a limited book. It's a book. Take creation. Take the creation of the world. See, it's a very limited 31 verses. It's very limited, this book. It's not unlimited. Godliness is unlimited, but ultimately it's written on black ink on parchment. It's a very limited book. So remember, 5 books of Moses. We know exactly how big the book is. So it's a book. How do you take Ein Sof and put it in a book? With self-understood, that's the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's infinity. That's why, there's a class coming up in JLI, it's a fascinating class. Could God create a rock that he can't pick up? That was one of the questions. Could God create something that he cannot do? And how are you going to answer that question? Any way you're going to answer that question, you have a problem. Anyway, you can answer that question. It's going to limit the question. The answer is going to limit what God is. So it's extremely paradoxical in a way that can come into a vessel. Can be malvished in a vessel. That's one of the wonders of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's that's why it's called Yom Echad. As the Rambam Maimonides says, true unity is only by God. Because only God can have unity in the world. A yesh cannot have unity. Two people, even though Torah says, for example, a man and woman, they should become basar echad. It's in figurative terms. It's impossible to become basar echad. So it's impossible. It's impossible because two physical things cannot become one. You can split them, but you cannot become one. It's not possible to become one. So the concept of oneness in the world is only God who can ultimately bring about. Yesh is physical. It's called yesh.
Yeah.
Yesh.
The physical.
Yesh, being. I don't think I'm translating it really correctly. Because really, yesh has many terminology. Yesh is ego. Ego is a yesh. Ego. How you say ego in Hebrew is yeshus. You have a yesh. You're an ego. So yesh is being, space, existence. Thank you. Yesh me'ayin, an existence for non-existence. So in Chassidus explains God, existence, the world is yesh me'ayin, an existence for the non-existence. That's what Alter Rebbe, if you're in the Tanya of the day, Alter Rebbe explains the difference between the creation of man and the creation of God. Man, when he creates, is yesh mi-yesh, existence from existence. God creates the world, yesh mi-ayin, an existence for the non-existence. Means non-existence. Non-existence means something that we cannot understand. Is non-existence. If you want to just give a simple, same thing we cannot understand is non-existence. And the truth is, if you meet, if Einstein would come into this room and it would try to explain us something his theory of Chveizvas, then to me it's non-existence. Okay, because I wouldn't understand what he's talking about. Okay, so his chachma to me is non-existence. Non-existence is his chachma. I'm a limited. To me, is limited too. But my limitations, to his limitations, are existence for non-existence. Oh, my guf to my soul is existence for non-existence, right? Because my guf is physical, my soul is spiritual, so it's yesh mi'ayin. It's a existence for non-existence. Even though they're both in existence. But in comparison, everything is the theory of relativity. That was the greatness of Einstein. Everything is relative. Everything is relative. It's all relative.
There is no stick in the ground.
Right. So Choshech and Or. So when do we come to realize that on Purim? When we get drunk. So we should know the difference between Adar Haman and Baruch Mordechai. Right? We should have no difference in by God, Haman and Mordechai. No, what? No, never get drunk. Yeah, you go to sleep. You can go to sleep, and you won't know the existence between Adar Haman and Mordechai. So, right, because in a level of godliness where God creates everything is Or, everything is light. Now, when it comes down into the guf, it comes down into the world, self-understood. Now there's Haman and there's Mordechai. There's two different realities, self-understood. But in the spiritual, if you want to go into the higher realms of the creation of the world, right? There's no difference. The Eibishter created both of these entities in the world, and there's a purpose and a reason for both of these entities in the world.
That darkness is sometimes greater.
Right.
What do you mean by that?
Because darkness is a light that cannot come in a vessel. That's darkness.
Why is it greater?
Because light can come in a vessel, so automatically has a certain limitation. But darkness has no limitation. It doesn't come in a vessel. It doesn't. The light. It's like example. I'll give you an example. What's greater, a mitzvah or an aveda? In Chassidus, what is greater, a mitzvah or a sin? A mitzvah is what you have to do. A sin is what you're not allowed to do. Chassidus explains each one has its greatness. A mitzvah is something. Every mitzvah is connected to time. Aveda has no time. Right? You're never allowed to eat non-kosher, whether it's night, daytime, happy days, bad days. You're not Aveda 24. Correct. You're never allowed to have that concept. Right? You're never allowed to steal. You're never allowed to kill. You're never allowed to do an Aveda, whether it's whenever it is. A mitzvah is a mitzvah is always connected to a time. Still in the daytime. You even keep Shabbos in a certain day. You can keep, there's a time to everything. So a mitzvah is mukta in a way, a mitzvah is positive, it has a vessel. While an Aveda, which is in the concept of darkness, has no vessel. So in essence, when I don't do an Aveda, when I do a mitzvah, what I'm doing is I'm bringing about a godly that comes down into the world. When I don't do Aveda, when I don't do the sin, I see this trait, and I don't eat it, right? I'm bringing down a light that is higher than a vessel. I'm bringing down an energy, a godliness in the world that is above and beyond time and space. So that's why, in a way, when I don't do an Aveda, I'm accomplishing something greater in the world than even when I'm doing a mitzvah. No way. Mitzvah is that I bring down an oil and a pnimi. And that's the beauty of a mitzvah. That's the greatness of a mitzvah. The greatness of a mitzvah is I bring it down in a vessel. I said, and that's what the Eibishter wanted. I mentioned yesterday, beautiful, the Rebbe actually brings it down, that the difference between, the Eibishter created man and both these, that's why we have mitzvahs and avedas. The Eibishter created man from the earth of the whole world. And that's the concept of in Chassidus, that's an earth saviv, that we are encompassing light of the world. We can affect the whole world. And the Eibishter wanted us to affect the whole world. To affect the whole world. But then the Eibishter said, I want an pnimi. I want a bias. I want an pnimi. I want an inner light. That's great that we can affect the world. But then the Eibishter says, where is your anchor? Where is your abode? Where do you rest? And that's the house you build. And that's the place where God wants you to be at this present time. Right? So wherever you are, in Boca, in Florida, in Israel, whatever you are, that needs to be your shining place. And that's where your pnimi, that's where your inner light needs to come into. That's the greatness of an pnimi. Essence, the Eibishter, what the Alter Rebbe is going to deduce us, this is an introduction to the Alter Rebbe, is going to deduce us to Malbush, the Levushim. Pnimi is inner light. So the Malbush, the Eibishter gave us 3 garments. In these 3 garments, the inner light needs to penetrate, needs to garment itself, needs to clothe itself into. So you can have esses, these are manifestations, lights, energies, whatever you want to call it. And these are very encompassing concepts, very powerful concepts, but they might elude me my whole life. I might be traveling around the world to conquer my needs. What? Yes, pnimi, inner, internal. And then we need to bring the light down into how do we make it practical? How do we make it practical? Right? We can philosophize forever and ever. And it's beautiful. We can travel the world. And where do we live? Nowhere. And the Eibishter said, no, I need to have a dwelling place. I need a place, a building. I need to have a building in this world. I need a bias in this world. And every single one of us needs to create that bias in ourselves. What's the bias? What is the vessel that we create? And that's what the Alter Rebbe introduces to us. We can talk about the Nefesh Elokis, that we are godly from today until doomsday. We can talk about it forever and ever. Has nothing to do with us. Nice concept. It's a nice philosophy. We need to bring it into a garment. And that garment, the Eibishter gave us 3 garments in our being to bring this concept into a pnimi, into a house. And anchor it into my being. And that is the 3 levushim. Yeah, machshava, dibur, maisa. The 3 garments of thought, speech, and action. Those are the garments where I bring godliness into a vessel. I make it not as a concept, I make it into a reality. I'm going to confine it. I might confine it. That surely is going to confine it because we're all different. These 3 vessels is really a lot of these three vessels. To most of us, we've been trained in a way how to think. Think on your own, not to think where you were trained to think by your parents or by your grandparents or your great grandparents or by your teachers or by your psychiatrists or whatever. Chachma is going to be, how do I think on yourself? What do you think? What do I think? Not what my father thought or my teacher thought. What do you think? But I always say that that's what Adam and Chava, they missed the point. When the Eibishter said, Yaakov, where are you? Don't tell me what your wife said. Don't tell me what the Nachash said. I don't need that information. I'm looking, my question is, where are you? Yaakov, where are you? And that needs to be answered. Not the question is, who you gonna blame it on? You know, Ayeka, where are you? And that's a very difficult thing. That's not an easy thing to accomplish. To want to accomplish who they are. What is their machshava dibur u'maisa? Ready? Are you ready? Let's roll. Addition, every divine soul possesses three garments: thought, speech, and action. Yeah, what's the matter? I do English. English is my language.
Kind of, sort of.
What word? Shava, thought. I read it just now. Thought, speech, and action. Machshava is thought. What? Action.
But you never say Yiddish and anything in Yiddish, do you?
I do say some Yiddish. Thought, speech, and action. Machshava, dibur, u'maisa. Why do I say Hebrew? You might say, why? First of all, that's my language. Number two is you need to learn these words.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You need to learn these words.
Absolutely.
Machshava, dibur, maisa. Thought, speech, and action. If I would never say these words, you would never learn it. So I know it's not easy, but you'll get it one day. Speech and action in the 630 commandments of the Torah. So the Torah is an the Torah is a light. Everybody is going to learn Torah, and even in the action of mitzvahs are going to do it different because your garment is different. Okay? The vessel you're going to make is going to be different. Each person is going to be different. Therefore, the vessel you're going to make is the way the light is going to go into this vessel. Okay. The is Pasha. The Torah, you cannot change the Torah. The Torah is the Torah. Right? Torah is emes. That's it. The Rebbe last night when we showed this video, the Rebbe says, the world wants to say, and even some rabbis want to say the Torah, you can change it. The Torah means the Torah is talking that there was never Avraham Avinu, there was never Yitzchak Avinu, there was never Yaakov Avinu. It's just an analogy. It's not something in a reality. No, you have to take the Torah k'pshutai. Don't try to mold the Torah into your fantasies. The Torah is k'pshutai. When the Torah says 6 days, some people want to say it means 6 millenniums, it means whatever. The Torah says 6 days, it's 6 days. Because when you say the Torah means 6 millenniums, so why are you keeping Shabbos? Why does anybody keep Shabbos? Throw the Shabbos out the window. If you're going to say that the world was not created in 6 physical days, what we call today days, then there's no Shabbos. No Shabbos. So you rest under the 7th day means you rest under the 7 billion years. I don't know what 7 days are. So you have a problem. Science, you might think has a problem. It's not a problem. Go figure out science. The Torah says the Eibishter created the world in 6 days. It's 6 days, 24-hour days. Finished. And that's why we keep Shabbos every the 7th day. We keep Shabbos. Because that's what the Torah says. End the story.
Can you give you a different view?
There's no different view. The Torah has one view, and that is a view. There's no other view.
Time did not exist.
No, it's not true. The Torah talks to man. He says 6 days is 6 days. And finish. The second you change that, you change the whole Torah. Finished. The Torah has no meaning. Torah is talking about something else. When the Torah said put on tefillin, didn't mean tefillin. It meant something in the heavens. You cannot say that. You're destroying the Torah the second you say that. So you cannot say, you can't play around with the Torah. Can't play around. The second you play around with the Torah, everything is down, is out. It's all a game. It's all up to you to play around with. Don't play around with the Torah. Torah Nitzchi is Don't play around with the Torah. Now play around with your own brains. Figure it out. Don't figure it out. It has nothing to do with the Torah. Torah is Pashat. Torah is light, which is Pashat. Given to us now to take it and bring it into our machshava dibur ma'aser. Bring it into our thought, speech, and action. But not to change. Since now I have my thought, speech, and action, I'm going to change the Torah. Right? It doesn't fit in my thought, so I'll change the Torah.
How can you have a day if you don't have a sun and a moon yet?
Because great question. Great question. A gewaltige question. Sit down and try to figure it out. Go look Chassidus, go look Zohar. It's all tries to explain it. Because when the Eibishter created the first day, even though he didn't create the sun and the moon yet, 24 hours was created already. That's it. The sun and the moon were put in the 24-hour period. That the sun and the moon make the 24 hours. But Chassidus says, Torah says, no, I created time and space. So I created, and time and space is not run by the sun and the moon. Time and space is run by my creation that I created. And in the fourth day, I put the sun and the moon. I think the Eibishter put the sun and the moon in the fourth day to drive us all crazy forever and ever. How would we be able to figure this out? Right? The Eibishter put the sun and the moon on the fourth day of creation. Right? So from then on, drove us nuts. Why? Because we're trying to fit God. We're trying to fit God into us when we're supposed to fit ourselves into God. And that's a big mistake.
So what's your thought of the Grand Canyon?
It's a beautiful place. I go there, take pictures, and I go home. And it's a beautiful place. It's the wonders of God. I don't know.
That was done in one day?
It could have been done in 2 days. It could have been done in 1
The
second.
Grand Canyon was done in one day.
It was done when the Eibishter created the world.
One day.
The Great Canyon.
It was done in one day.
The
You say
fall.
one day.
Grand Canyon philosopher. I am not a Grand Canyon philosopher. I don't know.
Found by warning. No, with a vow, because they said.
Okay, listen, guys.
We're alive.
I don't know. You should know.
I love the Grand
We should
Canyon.
know. That's beautiful. I wouldn't buy the Grand Canyon. You should know. You should know that many things happen in the flood. Says a lot of things happen in the flood. In the flood, a lot of things happen in the world. That period of time and changed the world. Okay, so we don't know what happened in the flood. Maybe the flood made the Grand Canyon. I don't know, but it doesn't make a difference. The Grand Canyon is beautiful, and all the things are beautiful, and it's all creation by God. And Baruch Hashem, the Eibishter needed to have keep people busy to go take pictures. He made the Grand Canyon,
Yes.
and now we have pictures, and like anybody looks at these pictures. But okay, whatever. That's not the point. The point is a Yid, a Jew, has to realize that the Eibishter is the creator of the world. And when and he gave us a Torah, which Torah is emes, Torah is truth, it's the word of God.
Right.
And it's no question what the Torah says. We have a problem in my mind. I have a problem with this issue. Maybe I don't have a problem, but because the Grand Canyon doesn't bother me. Nothing bothers me really. Besides my personal stomach aches bother me, but besides that, I have everything else works out. Yeah, I'm filled for that. So the Eibishter said, how you put your mind in God, not that you take God and put it in your mind. You take your mind and try to connect it to the Eibishter's seichel, to the Eibishter's wisdom.
So it says, how does it fit in where it says that Hashem created worlds and destroyed them? Where is that?
Right. So that's the Zohar. That's not the Chumash.
Okay.
That's the Zohar.
But what
That's
difference-
Kavbbalah. It's a big difference because the Torah was written by the Eibishter, and there's no questions in the Torah. You cannot compare Midrashim and the Zohar. You have to understand what the Zohar means. You have to be a Zohar. You have to be a Kabbalist. You go to a guy who knows the Zohar, and he'll give you interpretation. It does. It means exactly what it says. You have to understand what that means. But the pasuk is kipshutai. The pasuk was written for a 5-year-old child. The Zohar was not written for a 5-year-old child.
Where?
That's a different. The Gemara was not written for a 5-year-old
Doesn't
child.
it go up into the Chumash?
100%. But you have to be a Kabbalist to understand the Zohar. So the Zohar is 100% true, but you got to know the Zohar. Go learn the Zohar. But the pasuk was written for a 5-year-old child. That's my point. The pasuk is pshutai. It's simple. The Zohar is complex. You got to understand it. The Gemara is complex. You got to understand. The pasuk. When the pasuk says Avram Avinu was Avram Avinu, there was a guy named Avram Avinu. He was a man that walked the streets like me and you, and Sarah was a woman that walked the streets. And when the pasuk says that God created the world for 6 days, that's what the pasuk says. And a 5-year-old child was written for a 5-year-old child. Not that you want to go and contemplate and go on it. Yeah, maybe go, but the pasuk, there's expression in Gemara. I've said this many times. Ein mikra yaitze midei pshutai. The verse never leaves its simple meaning. You want to go philosophize about it, gesundheit, but never go away from the simple meaning of the verse. The second you do that, you're done. The Zohar was written for people that were 40 years and above and a great Kabbalistic understanding. The Gemara was written for a 15-year-old boy, not 16, 17, 18-year-old boy, not for a 5-year-old child. But the Torah is written for a 5-year-old to a 150-year-old. Because the Torah doesn't leave its simple meaning. And that's why you'll always see in Chassidus, is pashut. Light is simple. Light is simple. Light is very deep. God is thinking light is very deep. What do you mean light is simple? Light is simple. The Hashem is simple. Are you serious? The is simple. Sure, light has within it deep, complex concepts and very spiritual concepts, but light is simple. And why is light simple? Nobody should say Torah is not for me. I gotta be Talmud Chacham to learn Torah. A 5-year-old child. So therefore, everybody in this closet over here, in this hallway, is over 5 years old. Everybody in this hallway is over 5 years old. Every one of us can learn Torah. There's no excuses that anybody can say, no, you're right, not everybody can learn Gemara. Not everybody, you might not be able to. It's a difficult concept. It's a hard concept. You have to work hard on it. But Chumash, and so to Chassidus, which is also everybody can learn it. Everybody should learn it. It's an project. It's a beautiful light. Now take it and bring it into your machshava, your thought, your dibur, your speech, umaisa, and your action. Now malbush it. Now garment it. The Eibishter wanted this earth to come into a vessel, just like and put it into a vessel of the Torah. The Torah is a vessel. Now the Eibishter says, I want to take this earth, take this chumash, and bring it into your vessel. Think of it as an ur, 10 manifestations, chachma. These are all urs, wisdom, understanding, knowledge, chesed, gevura. These are all urs. These are all lights. You need to bring it down into a vessel. Now, the way you're going to think about it, the way you're going to speak about it, and the way you're going to do with it. What are you going to do with this earth? Maisa. Well, as the Gemara says, Maisa. Even in these 3 vessels, the most important vessel is Maisa. The most important of these 3 vessels is your action. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with this earth? You can take this earth and you can abuse it. You take this earth and you can beautify it. How are you going to do with this earth? It's a light. Even the Eibush says, right? Moshe Rabbeinu says to God, "Bereishis bara lakim." Vessel is not correct. Right? It's a dangerous vessel. Like Bereshis, but in the beginning, God created. In the Hebrew, it's Bereshis. In the beginning, but Elohim was God was created. It's a very dangerous vessel. Cannot do that. We have to change it over. You should write Elohim, but Bereshis. God created the beginning. And also that you would also start the Torah with the letter Aleph. Why are you starting the Torah Bereshis with the letter Beis? You start the Torah Elohim. The first word in the Torah should be God's name. Right? That would make sense. And also it makes sense because you translate it correctly. Elohim, God created the beginning. Not the beginning was created God, but God created the beginning. And what does the Abish to say? I wrote the Torah for the humans. I wrote the Torah for their seichel. I wrote the Torah for them. And if they want to come and make a mistake, let them make a mistake. If they want to make a mistake, let them make a mistake. Let them come and make a mistake. That's outside Bereshis. Why Bereshis? The Rashi says, because I wrote the Torah, created the world for two reasons. B'shvil HaTorah, because of this vessel of Torah, or B'shvil Yisrael, and because of every single one of us. I wrote this Torah, I created the world for these two reasons. So that humans would come and make a vessel, make their vessels. I made a vessel so that humans would come and make their vessels. So that a Jew would come and take this Torah, take this Ur, and make vessels. And that's Machshava Dibur Maisa. That's your thought, speech, and action are the vessels that you create. So here, so let's go back to the Tanya. The garments.
Second, when you
Yeah.
say, what's the direct translation? What is it? It says was created having.
Yeah, if you take the words in Hebrew, Bereshis, in the beginning, bara was created. I like it. we flip it.
As I
The
know.
Gemara discusses it.
But you.
The Gemara discusses it. I just said it. That's good. I just
Very hard.
spoke about it.
No, what-
So it's a Gemara. The Gemara said.
You open the Chumash and you want.
Show this commentary. Look at all the you.
I mean,
Not the commentator writers in English. I don't know, but there's. But I'm not coming up with nothing new. Whatever.
but I never really. You know?
No, Rashi doesn't mean on this commentary. I don't know. Weitish. Can't give you every answer. I don't know who speaks about it. So it's a Gemara. The Gemara says that Moshe Rabbeinu said you should really write the Torah different. And the Abisha says that it's not only the only place in the Torah that they know when the Gemara says the story of Talmai HaMelech, the Egyptian king, who brought 70 sages. He took 70 sages. Famous Gemara. He took 70 sages, he put them in 70 different rooms, 72 sages, I think, put them in 72 different rooms. And he told them, you're not going to leave the room until you translate the Torah. And the Gemara said that it was a very dangerous time for the Jews and for the world. How are these 72 sages going to translate the Torah? And 10 instances, the Gemara says, they all translated exactly, they retranslated, right? To make like the Bereshis Bar Elokim. In the beginning, God created. So they translated, he wanted to catch them. And it was like a great miracle the day that some say it was Tu B'Shvat, to Shvat. That they came out and they all translated the Torah exactly. They all made the exact translation. And they changed all 10 places. Don't ask me what the 10 places are. This is one of the places that they all translated exactly the same way, even though they were all in 72 different rooms. All translated. No, well, it was a dangerous day. I saw when they put him into the room, was a sort of a Tavis, I think, not sure. And it was a very dangerous day. And second, something of the day they came out was a very dangerous day. How they're going to come out with this Chumash and how they were going to translate it. And they all translate exactly the same. great yontiv by Yidden, that Baruch Hashem, that they all came out exactly with the exact same in 10 places where they all change it, the translation, that it should chas v'shalom not come out a question. Why? Because somebody wants to come and make a mistake. Let them come and make a mistake. The Torah was given over to man that they should put it in their vessels, in their machshava. How are they going to learn it? Well, the Abel's going to chew everything up for you and give it exactly so you won't have any thoughts. You won't have your thoughts in the Torah. That's what we say every day in our davening. That we should all have a chelik in the Torah. We should all learn the Torah, and we should all have a part in the Torah. So that we can all come out with an interpretation. After 120 years, God's going to ask you one question, one of the questions. What can you give me an interpretation? Let me hear your chiddush. I want to hear your thesis. Give me your what?
That's why we do this.
Oh, yeah?
We're
Okay.
looking to connect.
Okay.
Part of the Torah,
Okay.
that's all.
So the Abish is going to ask you, they're not going to ask you where the finger is. The Abish is going to say, no, what is your chiddush? What is your thesis in the Torah? Let me hear. I gave you a Torah, let me hear. I don't know, you're not going to say, oh, you're going to repeat the pasuk. They're going to say, let me hear your chiddush. I want to hear your interpretation. What's your machshava? Give me your machshava in the Torah. Can you give it to me? And if you, hopefully everybody over here will have a thesis. You're going to come up, you're going to give a drasha. Your Dvar Torah. What's your Dvar Torah? Let me hear your Dvar Torah. The truth is, we should come up with a Dvar Torah every day. We should learn Torah every day. And we should come up with a thought. What does a Torah mean to me? You mean how many interpretations?
Yeah.
Every Jew has an interpretation.
Something with the number 70.
No, there's 70 ways. The Gemara says, Shivim Panim LaTorah. 70 faces to the Torah.
So does that mean?
That Arizal says every Jew has a face. So
71?
there's if you would have said 71, you would say, why not 72? So Apashtus is connected to 70 nations of the world. So it's all interconnected, that we are connecting the 70 nations through the Torah, etc. So they're all interconnected. Maybe I'm not, again, that's off the bat, so to say.
My question is
It's unlimited. Unlimited. It's unlimited. It's unlimited. Rachavim minayam, it's unlimited. Because the Torah is the wisdom of God. So how is limitation? How is there a limitation to this concept? That's what you see. Look at the Torah. It's never ending. There's never ending interpretations to this Torah. It's never ending. Yeah.
I'm not going to call it dumbed down in this different way from hearing it. There's a website that Marty introduced. Aleph-Bet. It's Aleph-Beta.
Yeah, I know.
.com.
Very nice.
And it has some beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Chabad.org.
Well, but I'm saying if you want another simplified.
You want inner.com. Inner Rabbi Greenberg. If you want Ginsburg, if you want to find Kabbalistic interpretations to the Torah, inner.org, I think it's called. Rabbi Ginsburg, and you're gonna be blown away Kabbalistically on the Torah. In American vows, matches of Torah, it's unlimited. It's unlimited. It's unlimited. And you should learn it. Who is a person that is wise, learns from everybody, and you can learn unlimited. Go to h.com. I mean, there's unlimited.
You just gotta know what to filter out. That's
let everything. No, I'm talking about these are hopefully kosher places.
yeah.
You know, that's the problem with the internet in a way. You put in a godly word, and you get mostly Christian websites. And for a Jew, that's not a place to go. So that's why you have to don't just put it into the internet and you think you're going to come up with Jewish websites. You're going to come up with non-Jewish websites.
You have to put it in Torah or you'll get a bunch of
There
messages.
are more of that than of us.
Very careful. You're very careful. Therefore, that's why you got to get us. You got to know which place to go. Okay, let's try to end this off. Let's try to finish the paragraph at least. Within the power of right. So in the 630 commandments of the Torah, right? Because we are trying to battle the earth, especially with our godly soul. We're trying to battle the earth, and therefore, that's why. For when a person actively fulfills all the precepts which required physical action, and with the power of speech, he occupies himself expounding upon the 630 commandments in the particular applications. And with the power of thought, he comprehends all that is comprehensible to him. In the Paidus, in the garden, Paidus is a garden of the Torah, then the totality of the 630 organs of the soul are clothed in the 600 commandments of the Torah. My friends, that's the way when we talk about a neshama, when we talk about a soul, which is a godly, we said it's a chelek elakami mal mamish, it's a part of God. The only way we can take this godly soul and bring it into a reality is only if we garment ourselves with these three garments. When we start to think godly things, when we speak godly things, when we do godly things, that's the way we garment this godly soul. We can walk around the whole life, 90, 120 years with a godly soul, and we have not garmented it. We didn't garment. We can think about this godly soul. We can even speak about this godly soul. If we don't bring it into an action, it's going to stay elusive. It's going to be elusive. It's going to be godly. It's not going to come down into this world. And we're not going to bring our godly soul into this world if we don't garment it in these three garments. It's just not going to happen. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to philosophize about it. It's just not going to come down into a home. It's not going to come down into a garment. And until it does not come down to a garment, it's like God, who was there in the world before creation, did not come down into creation until he did it Maisa, until he did an action, and he created the world, and he made this world a vessel for that godliness to come down into. So therefore, these are the garments that we need to focus on, and we need to comprehend the concept of thought, the aspect of speech, and the aspect of action, which really what man is all about, the way he thinks, the way he speaks, or he or she, and the way ultimately he acts. And that's, as I said before, ultimately the way he acts is the most important thing, because that's the way the earth, that's the way this light is going to come into the world, his world, my world. The way it's going to come into my world is ultimately the way I'm going to act. The way I'm going to portray myself in a physical world, the way I'm going to speak. That's why speech is very important. You see the Rebbe, we know by the Rebbe, you see by he was so careful in his speech. He would never say death in his vocabulary. He would never say death. The Rebbe would say the opposite of life. Never say the word death. Not that he didn't want to say the word.
Right.
Because he didn't want to say a negative word. He didn't want to say that word. He didn't want it to come out of his mouth. Not say it. He would say the opposite of life. The opposite of life. So you can imagine what it means to control what you say. What you say. That the Eibishter gave you a lavush, dibur. The Eibishter gave each and every one of us a garment of speech. And what you say is important. Is important to the world. It's important to others. It's important to the world. And most of us say, I'm sorry on what we speak. Imagine if we stop saying, I'm sorry, forget about what we do, on what we speak. And we control the way we speak so that what we say comes out in a more purer way. And the Gemara learns it out from this week's portion, Parshas Noach. But the Torah uses 8 extra words, not to say, somebody asked me before, what means a non-clean animal. So the Torah could have used behema tameya, the Gemara says, but the Gemara said the Torah used a behema asheinena tahira, an animal that is not pure. Why didn't the Torah say behema tahira, behema tameya? So the Gemara says that the Torah is willing to use extra words, extra 8 letters, not to say a negative thing. God says it's better to use extra words, not to say a negative thing, not to say a behemoth tameya, an unclean animal. Torah uses 8 extra words with every letter in the Torah is precise, and every letter is every word is. It just says, "I'm willing to teach humanity not to say a negative thing, but to use extra words, not to say a negative thing." Is not cheap. What it did, but speech is not cheap. It's not nothing. Speech is important. It's a lavush of our neshama. And the way I speak, either I'm going to be malmush my godly soul, or if I'm going to talk negativity, that's the way I'm garmenting my animalistic soul. I can see from a person the way he speaks. If he speaks V'lashon naki, if I speak, the person myself, I can see the way I speak. Either I'm going to speak in a pure soul, I'm garmenting my godly soul. If I'm speaking negativity, lashon hara, I'm basically garmenting my animalistic soul. If I think positive, I'm garmenting my godly soul. If I'm thinking negative, I'm garmenting my animalistic soul. That's all I'm doing. I'm giving garments, I'm giving vessels, I'm giving space. I'm creating a home for my animalistic soul. And that's the truth we can see in our homes. Am I creating a home for godliness, or am I creating a home for my animalistic soul? And that's the way it is. And ultimately, hopefully, I create a home for my godly soul. I create more a home in this world for my godly soul. And I create less of a home for my animalistic soul to live in. And when my animalistic soul doesn't have a place to live, it doesn't have an existence. And the existence that it has is because I created it. The Rebbe once told Jonathan Thax, a blessed memory, that he told the Rebbe, I'm in a predicament. So the Rebbe said, what? The Rebbe told him, no, the Rebbe said, you put yourself in a predicament. You're not found, I'm found in a predicament. You make the vessel for your predicament. Don't think that you just boom, boom. You created that predicament. You created that predicament. Now you have to get yourself out of that predicament. But you created that predicament. That doesn't happen. We create the vessels. We create the predicaments. We create the way we think, the way we speak, the way we act. We create predicaments. We need to be able to change those predicaments in the garments that we clothe ourselves in, and the way we think, and the way we speak, and the way we act. We're going to change our predicament. And that's why it's very important, this chapter, as we're going to go through it, very important, because these are the predicaments, these are the garments that we create in the world. Wish you all a wonderful week.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Should be a godly week. Even though we're going through the floods, the water floods, we should be able to create a teva, to create an ark for each and every one of us. Have a wonderful